Well, so often when parents come to me with sleep challenges, we forget to look at what is going well. We forget to look at what your baby is really good at. We forget what your baby brings that helps them through the challenge. And let's not also forget that you are bringing something to this story too.
Welcome to the Baby Sleep Connection, a podcast that explores baby sleep and more through the lens of attachment and development. I'm your host, Heather Boyd. I'm a mom of 3, an occupational therapist, and a certified infant and family sleep specialist. If you are a tired parent who wants to support your baby sleep holistically, keep listening as we delve into approaches that go well beyond the usual strategies of wake windows and bedtime routines. Your baby's sleep is connected with so much more.
This week, I had the pleasure of presenting at Sleeposium 2025. This is an annual conference for sleep coaches and others who support babies and children around sleep. It's run by the Child Sleep Institute and one of my mentors, Andrea Strang. And in the talk I gave this week, which was mainly to sleep coaches around the world, was about holistic, strength-based sleep coaching. I wanted to give a little recap for those who follow this podcast on why I value a strength-based approach in the work that I do with families and what that looks like. I want to start with a beautiful analogy that I discovered online when I was preparing for this talk. It's from Dr. Shelley Moore, although perhaps someone else created it beforehand. And I want you to picture one of those seed packs that, even though spring is not yet sprung, if you're doing any gardening, you might be looking at ordering those little seed packs that you get with the seeds inside that you can plant in your garden. I want to talk about what's on the outside of that seed pack. Usually, there's a picture of a plant in full bloom with the flowers. There's often a statement about what that plant brings to the garden, how beautiful the flowers are, what colors they are, what benefits that plant has. But it also includes some instructions and guidelines around how much sun that plant needs, how much space it needs, when to plant it. Do you know what isn't on that seed pack? What is wrong with a snap pea and that it should be a cucumber? Now, why do I tell you this story? Well, this story highlights that when we are looking at supporting our kids and our babies, whether it's through sleep, development, scholastics, any part of raising kids, if we look at what is amazing about them, that can be the push-off point for supporting them with the things that are difficult. And what does this have to do with sleep? Well, so often when parents come to me with sleep challenges, we forget to look at what is going well. We forget to look at what your baby is really good at. We forget what your baby brings that helps them through the challenge. And let's not also forget that you are bringing something to this story too. So the next time that you're having a struggle, which for the first few years of parenting, when it comes to sleep, it's going to be up and down for quite some time, is to think about that seed pack and think about what is it that my baby has that makes this easier than it could be? And what is it that I know about my baby that is a strength that I can use to support us through this difficult time? And then last, what is it that you bring? Do you bring patience? Do you bring the ability to research and organize? Do you bring compassion because you know that you had trouble with sleep when you were younger as well? Now, I'm not an expert in strength-based approaches, but I do think I cut my teeth quite well on my first job as an OT in an infant development program in Peel, Ontario. Infant development programs are for babies who are at risk or have an established developmental delay. So for the families I was working with, some babies had a diagnosis or established delay. Others were at risk of a delay, so born prematurely and worth monitoring, or had some other type of risk factor that made it worth monitoring how development was, supporting families in helping development unfold. And it really was a strength-based program. Yes, we were keeping an eye on babies, but because most of them were at risk, it was about looking at supporting who they were and how their development was going to unfold. For those that did have a diagnosis, whether it was Down syndrome or another genetic diagnosis, it really was about looking at what is it that this baby has their amazing personality or smile or stubbornness and resilience that we can bring to support helping them along with the things that were more of a struggle for them. Now, it turns out after cutting my teeth on this program, I ended up getting a master's degree studying family centered care. And this was about understanding the strengths of the family, that families knew their babies best, wanted what was best for their babies, and that every family is unique and has unique set of strengths and needs. Now, I want to point out that it can sometimes feel like if we're talking about a strength-based approach that we're ignoring what is not going well. And I want to blow that myth out of the water. A strength-based approach is not about ignoring what your baby is struggling with or ignoring what they're having trouble with. What it is identifying and understanding how your baby's strengths can be used to support their potential. So what is it that they're able to do if we understand what they're already good at so that we can leverage that? And I'll give an example. So often we look at persistent, stubborn kiddos as being a challenge, right? It doesn't seem like it's a positive, but what if that means that they are very persistent in making sure you know what they need so that we can't just gloss over the need they have for you being close or for being rocked to sleep or having lots of heavy work during the day? They're so persistent that they're not going to let go of letting you know what is important for helping them in their day, in their development. And really, it's about understanding your child not just through what's not going well, but in looking at what is going well. And it's about helping them reach their full, whole child potential. There was a quote that I found in a book that I shared in the presentation that I gave, and it was focus and build on what I can do rather than on what I can't do. Now, I know if you're an exhausted parent and you're looking at what my baby can't do is sleep longer than 45 minutes without me settling them or nursing them, or they're not able to fall asleep on their own. It's important to know that because we can't solve a problem without defining it. And I'm going to add the and because the and is what is it that your baby is capable of doing right now that can help us understand what they need.
Thank you for joining me on this episode. I do hope that you found the information and perspectives in this podcast episode helpful to you as you navigate your baby's sleep development. Of course, this podcast provides general information and it isn't tailored to your family's reality or the specific needs of your baby. If you're concerned about your baby's sleep or health, be sure to reach out to your healthcare provider. If you're feeling exhausted and overwhelmed and you need a place to feel nurtured and reassured, you can find me on Instagram at familysleep.ca. Until next episode, look for the connections that support you and your baby.